Hey everyone, welcome to the Fantasy Football Endgame. Big shout out to our Endgame community. Thanks for joining us as always. I'm Pierre and he's Chris. This time for our booms of the week, this time for week 5. Now again, these aren't guys you absolutely have to start. That's what the must starts are for. These are guys that if you need some upside, and who doesn't need upside, especially at the flex position, you might consider putting in there, have potential for a big game. All right, Chris, give me a guy that you like this week.
I like Marquez Callaway to boom against my football team. I don't know if you've noticed, but something has happened to my football team's defense, and it is not good. They are giving up the most plays of over 20 yards of any team, of any defense. I don't know what happened to this defense. They went from one of the best defenses in the NFL to one of the worst, right? They're just a big play waiting to happen on every single snap. Now, Marquez Callaway is not getting a ton of targets. This team is not passing the ball a ton. But he is the big play guy. He is the home run guy. And if anybody's going to hit a home run against his football team defense, which again, they're giving up the most home runs of any team, of any defense in the league, it's going to be Marquez Callaway. I think he gets one this week. If you're desperate at your flex position and you need a high upside boom play, put Marquez Callaway in. He's got a great chance to do it.
Yeah, finally hit on a big play last week. 2 weeks in a row, he's done something, which is much better than the first 2 weeks. So, all right, so speaking of home runs, who hits them better than DeSean Jackson? D-Jax, was pretty quiet this past week, but we know the week before he finally showed up big time. When will he hit? When will he not? I mean, we don't really know, but our best guess is against a secondary that's giving up a lot of yards, and that's Seattle. So this secondary, top 10 in terms of number of fantasy points allowed to wide receivers. Should I say bottom 10 because that's how bad they've been. We know that Jackson is going to get his shots because this is a game. It's going to go back and forth. This Thursday night game. There might not be a lot of points early on, but you know what? The Rams absolutely want to get back to their high-flying ways in the pass offense after a down week, getting beat down by Arizona. So, Jackson, it's definitely boom or bust with him, right? It's usually all or nothing, but I think he's got a good shot this week, so take a shot with him. Guys, if you like this video and you appreciate what we do, we appreciate you hit us with a like. Takes about half a second. All right, so give me another guy that you think could boom this week.
Well, I'm going to pick on my football team defense again, and I'm going to say Jameis Winston is going to boom in week 5, and he's a great stack with Marquez Callaway. Look, heading into the Monday night game, Matt Ryan was the QB3 for week 4. Matt Ryan, the QB3, because he played the football team who can't stop anybody right now, not even Matt Ryan. The football team can't even stop Matt Ryan. That's how bad this defense has gotten. I don't know if I've said it yet, but this defense has gotten very bad. So go ahead, fire up Jameis Winston. If you don't like the quarterback you have, if you've been streaming quarterbacks, you're looking for a quarterback who can boom, why not Jameis Winston? If Matt Ryan can boom against this defense, Jameis Winston definitely can boom against this defense.
Yeah, it's hard to explain. I mean, the talent is there. Based on talent alone, they absolutely should be a top-tier defense. It's just not happening. All right, so I know that you've already mentioned in another video you like Emmanuel Sanders this week. I'm going to roll with Cole Beasley as a boom play, and it's funny because we usually think of that kind of small slot receiver as a safe guy, someone who doesn't necessarily go off. Beasley has been an exception. He's a guy that kind of goes up and down. He'll have huge weeks and sometimes just disappear. And well, here's what he's doing this year. Week 1, 13 targets. Week 2, I think it was 5. Week 3, 13 targets. And then again this last week, a dud, not much. So what's he do for this week? Of course, I mean, it always works that way. But seriously, going against the Kansas City Chiefs, we know this is going to be a shootout. There should be plenty of passes thrown, especially on the Bills side. I think this is a really good chance for Beasley to boom. So you might be hesitant putting him in because, he didn't do much this past week. It could be his turn. Well, you know what? He and Sanders and Diggs could all have big games. Very well could happen. All right, before we get to more boom plays for week 5, just going to ask you consider joining us by being a patron. Information in the description below. If you want to join for the low price of $4.99 for a membership, you could join us every Sunday morning for our live Start Sit show just for our patrons. We go through all the Start Sit advice that you could possibly want. All right, so let's get to it. Chris, give me another boom play.
I like Josh Reynolds of the Titans. Look, we were talking about Chester Rogers. We were talking about Niki Akigi Westbrook, however you pronounce his name. right? No one was talking about Josh Reynolds, who went out there and led the team with 8 targets in week 4 with A.J. Brown and Julio Jones out. Now, we don't know for sure that both will be out, but both are trending to be out. And even if one of them is back, you got to think Josh Reynolds will slot in as a number 2. And against Jacksonville, you want to play as many receivers as you can against the Jaguars. So especially if A.J. Brown and Julio Jones are out again, I think Josh Reynolds is borderline a must start, but definitely has huge boom potential in this game. But even if one of them are back, I still really like Josh Reynolds' chances of booming in week 5 against this terrible Jacksonville secondary.
We haven't heard any positive reports coming out of Tennessee from either Julio or A.J. Brown, so definitely could be without them again. That's definitely something to watch. All right, so we started with the home run hitters and moved on to a slot receiver. I'm going to go with another slot guy because you know what? They can hit home runs too. They just, might take a little longer to get there. But based on what the target volume was for Jamison Crowder in his first game as a Jet, you've got to be encouraged. 9 targets in his first game with Zach Wilson. And, that Tennessee secondary has been pretty bad. Well, guess what? They get to face Atlanta this coming week. Not a defense to be scared of, especially in the secondary. Elijah Moore has been out. There's some word he may come back for this game, but you know what? That's not something to be concerned about. Jamison Crowder is still going to be the guy there. Moore, hasn't shown up quite yet. I know he's missed a couple games, but they're going to probably ease him into action. Crowder, we know that when he's on the field, no matter who's at quarterback, he can become a target hog. So I like the fact that he's going to be out there for sure. And I think Zach Wilson may be onto something now with this connection. Roll Crowder out and be happy with what you get because I think he's going to produce wide receiver 3 value yet again. All right, let's keep it going, Chris. Another boom play.
I'm saying Damien Williams is going to boom. Unfortunately, David Montgomery suffered that knee injury. And for however long he is out, Damien Williams is pretty much the guy there. I mean, I know they have Khalil Herbert, but I don't think he's really going to have a big role. Damien Williams going up against the Raiders, they're kind of middle of the pack against the run. Not really a defense you have to worry about, but also he's a very capable pass catcher, right? We saw it in Kansas City and even a little bit here in week 4. This guy can catch the ball. So he's going to get used in the passing game as well with some targets, which gives him tons of upside in PPR format. So I think, in this matchup, also Matt Nagy finally relinquished play calling. So finally the offense looked pretty good and showed signs of life. I think it's just in time. Damien Williams going to boom in week 5 as the Bears starting running back.
And there was actually a little bit of concern about Williams just when he looked like a hot waiver wire pickup because he had some sort of a quad injury coming out of last game, but sounds like he's fine. Go ahead and fire him up if you were going to anyways. Let's go a little deeper here, digging in the crates, and I'm going to come up with Chris Evans. That's right. If the Bengals, Joe Mixon, he's hurt again. I know. It's just shocking. But Samaje Perine, yeah, that's fine. Roll him out. We know what we're getting with Perine. Probably nothing huge. If you are in a deep league, consider Evans, a guy I really liked through the preseason. He is a natural pass catcher, could take on that role. He's already caught a couple of passes, even with Mixon on the field 2 weeks ago. This is somebody who has the ability, just wasn't really used a lot at Michigan, but the Bengals obviously like him. He might get a crack, and if he impresses, I wouldn't be surprised if he overtakes Perine for the lead role. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but again, this is boom plays. We're looking for some upside, and Chris Evans in such a thin running back landscape is someone to consider. So take a look at him for week 5. And you know what? Going against Green Bay, they might have to be passing it a lot, dumping it off to the running back. Don't be surprised if Evans makes his presence known. All right, those are our favorite boom plays for week 5. Check out our busts also in a separate video, guys that you don't want in your lineups. All right, thanks for watching and good luck in week 5.